people that are less familiar, which I think in the Western world is probably not too many people, certainly having a pretty good showing, especially relative to their last international results, which was now a very long time ago. All that being said, they do still need to continue to pick up wins and make their way out of the group. They would love to go undefeated here and take the first seed out, moving towards the Rumble stage, really show some of that dominance and maybe tighten some of the things up that we saw in their first few days of play.
Exactly, and just locking in that Rumble stage as soon as possible, right? Having a worry off your mind of any potential upsets. Then you can play a bit more loose, like it seems like Mad Lions do want to. As we are into draft, we have a bunch of expected bans coming out. I like that Mad Lions are already targeting the Nocturne pick, because if you remember in their first matchup, Starscreen picked up that Nocturne, and honestly, he was the big reason that the Fast Pay Wildcats kept that game competitive.
Yeah, I think Starscreen's actually been a really fun player to watch. I think he's had a pretty good tournament so far, and this matchup is actually going to be quite a fun one to watch. Maybe the best two performing top lanes, at least in this group, going head-to-head once again should be pretty explosive, although Armlet, again, has just been so good all tournament long. Udyr, the third ban there from the Mad Lions. Morgana Rumble, so 2 more junglers being added to the pool there by Wildcats, and 1 more to go, as it is going to be Varus taken out of the pool.
And now I would expect for something like the Kai'Sa to be first picked, but ooh, the Lee Sin is still open. Some teams have been very hot with this pick. They love the flexibility of it. We've seen it has so much playmaking potential in those soul lanes. Both Flippo and Ender were hitting on it on the AD. And I mean, hey, you want to make plays, you want to be bold like Mad Lions, it's a great first pick.
Yep, and again, you said has that flexibility already built in, so gives you a lot of options, especially on the blue side, to kind of fiddle with your drafts as you please. That would be a fun counter pick, but we'll have to see what Fast Pay Wildcats do and actually select for themselves. But again, I am expecting some fireworks in the top side regardless of the matchup, but we'll start things off with Volibear, which again, can go jungle, can go top. We've seen, I think, mostly jungle this tournament, but certainly can be flexed around.
And that's something that we were talking about yesterday, right? That once the Morgana, Rumble, and Udyr are off the table, it opens up the jungle pool a bit more. Volibear, great early skirmisher, so you can expect to see the Fast Pay Wildcats look for some action. And there's the Kai'Sa. It's been the go-to. Varus being banned a lot of the time. It was Holy Phoenix's most played champion during the TCL split as well. And I think right now Mad Lions giving a bit of a shout out to the side of the Wildcats, because Saren played a ton of Seraphine and was actually undefeated on it.
All right, we'll see if he wants to go to it here, but lots of players have dropped Seraphine, just some nerfs. But Tristana, definitely a good pick here for Kazi, who has shown up on that pick already in Nautilus. Very common support pairing, especially with the Kai'Sa, so I like that Mad Lions are taking that one away. I've seen a lot of different things in the solo lanes, so it's kind of a battle of do you want these AD mages or do you want your control mages? This game, at least, Wildcats are going to be going for Orianna, so more in that control mage camp.
And I'm really interested to see where the Wildcats go with their bans here, because again, you expect Lee Sin to go towards the soul lane, so you want to target out AP junglers. Of course, you can flex it into the jungle. We saw a lot of players were doing that in solo queue. It has been picked up once in the jungle here at MSI so far, but take away the Lilia, maybe take away the Nidalee as well, and then you're really digging down the trenches to something like a Fiddlesticks that Pabu pulled out, or maybe even a Karthus if you want AP in your jungle role.
Yeah, I mean, even though we are expecting this Tristana to go to Kazi, in the first 2 picks, Mad Lions do have 2 AD solo lanes potentially, so it does feel like AP in the jungle is certainly going to be wanted here for Elyoya, so I am curious to see what they go with, because I am expecting something like Nidalee, although interestingly it will be Victor taken away instead. And if that is going to be Volibear jungle for Ferret, it does feel like if Nidalee is the pick Mad Lions want, Elyoya is going to be able to get it here in phase number 2. But they've banned Set, which is actually something the desk highlighted wanting to see. I guess Mad Lions have also decided that they don't want to play against it. Starscreen has looked good on that champion already.
And that's what's been really curious, right? Is coming into the tournament, a lot of people were talking about, hey, Wildcats love to play around Holy Phoenix, is all around setting up that bot lane. But so far at MSI, it's been Starscreen having the pop-off performances. Mad are very conscious of that and wanting to get him off of those picks. Now for the side of Wildcats, you expect the support to come out. I would expect some kind of tanky initiator, maybe just go with the Leona. It's always been viewed as a good matchup into the Nautilus. You do have more resistances, you are tankier, he goes for the hook, and you just have more damage and more tank stats overall to win that 2v2.
Yep, so we're expecting jungle and finishing it off here, if it is indeed going to be Trist AD, so I guess mid for Humanoid is the other thing to consider. Has plenty of options up against a champion like Orianna, but we'll see where Mad want to go here with their last 2 picks. Was Alistar the 5th man as well for Mad Lions, so didn't have that option. On the Wildcat side has been very popular, but Olaf actually the selection here, so not going to be an AP jungler, not the Nidalee that we maybe expected. they'll see what Humanoid wants to do here, but I imagine he's going to pick a mage because you do want some sort of AP to kind of round out your damage profiles a bit.
Yeah, and I'm also just really surprised that they did end up going with the Olaf. I mean, you're not going to really have a hard time going up against the Volibear. Now you do have a source of AP to set you up for some ganks in the mid lane, and especially, we know Olaf is all about those early river skirmishes, which is exactly where both Zoe and Lee Sin thrive.
Yep, Zoe, I think a pretty expected last pick here for Humanoid. Lots of players tend to like playing Orianna. It's pretty even, I would say, matchup-wise, but you can get plenty of play on both sides, so I think Humanoid will be comfy in that matchup. Last pick, though, for Wildcats is going to be Urgot. Definitely a champion that has been, I want to say rising, but I feel like this was a known pick even before this meta and this patch, so a champion that has stuck around in the top lane here. Again, going to be a very exciting 1v1. Now we have a very different looking top lane matchup, Lee Sin versus Urgot.
I mean, it seems like every Lee Sin matchup is the same right now, right? You get to that Iron Spike whip, you have that with your E, you're able to just push the wave and get out of there. But the most interesting thing to me about these comps is, you know, they both have a lot of power, but in different areas, right? We look at Wildcats, it's all about those scaling 5v5 team fights, massive frontline damage, immobile backline carries who can dish out a ton of damage. And then on the side of Mad Lions, it's all about the early game action. It's all about the skirmishes. We already highlighted the Zoe and Olaf wanting to get into the river, looking for those skirmishes with Scuttle Crabs, maybe setting up some invades also and some ganks around the bottom half of the map. And when Karzi's been popping off, I love that plan.
Yeah, I mean, it will be a fun one to watch here. Mad Lions have had pretty good early games, as we saw on the desk. It has felt like the middle of the game is maybe where the wheels fall off sometimes, but thankfully, they never fully derail. They always find a way back in, even though their games have been very exciting, which is fun for the fans and fun for me. I don't think that that's how Mad Lions, you know, want their games to be going. So again, teams will be looking to be a bit more consistent here for Mad Lions. They're just looking to stay undefeated here and make it out of the group with ease. For Wildcats, it's going to be a must-win pretty much all day long here as you round out this group because they have pretty much no losses left to give.
And the thing I'm really concerned about for the Wildcats is that bottom lane 2v2 because, again, we highlighted how they were known for playing for Holy Phoenix back in the TCL, but we saw here in their first matchup that Karzi and Kaiser actually got the 2v2 kill, giving them first blood in their last matchup.
Alrighty, well, it's going to be another fun day of games. Maybe we'll get another tiebreaker. That was a fun way to end off yesterday, but Mad Lions on the hunt for win number 4. Wildcats trying to keep their tournament hopes alive here. And well, it is going to be a tough matchup for them, but as we've seen, I would say all tournament long, there is no such thing as a sure thing. I guess maybe unless you're RNG or down one. But teams are just going to fan out across the rift. In fact, Mad Lions are chilling at the top of the brush there above their red, making sure no one can walk in as Elioya and Almut guard the top side of the river. You know, just playing some jump rope, you know, making sure no one's sneaking into the jungle.
And I'm really curious to see where junglers go in this game, kind of talking about the early game dynamics, because we know Volibear is much more about finding early ganks, finding early action, is really good base damages, but ooh, Mad Lions just kind of fanning out, trying to see if the Wildcats got any wards down. But going back to my point, we know that, you know, Volibear a lot more about the early game aggression. When we highlighted, Wildcats composition is a lot more about scaling up and looking for those 5v5s around neutrals like Dragon, like Herald when it's up at the 8-minute mark, and not really anything in those first few levels.
Yeah, I think this is a pretty common theme in a lot of like scaling cores, right? So you look at Orianna, Leona, Kai'Sa, there's definitely a lot of like, hey, we're happy to scale up with our carries, and once that game gets to that point, we feel comfortable in the 5v5s, but you often have some sort of bridge, right, to get you through the early game and give you advantage where you can. And I think that is definitely going to be Ferret here on the Volibear, and likely Starscream on the Urgot here as well. Maybe Farfetch if you can roam around and get out of lane, as Humanoid and Seren are going to do battle early on. Definitely a matchup that'll be fun to watch, and again, hope to be comfy with. But speaking of action, topside is Starscream already getting the shotgun knees going as Armwood is fighting back very vigorously, but perhaps a little too enthusiastically.
Oh!
Flash auto, he's on in range. Urgot, oh no, is Armwood's going to escape.
Starscream has been having a wonderful MSI so far, and we haven't seen this matchup yet here at MSI, Urgot versus Lee Sin. Not sure how familiar Armwood is with it, but Starscream so far looking like he's getting the better end of this one, and you highlighted, hey, that Urgot lane might be where you want to play around as Ferret. And on the side of Wildcats draft, you definitely have opportunity both in topside and bot as well. We already hit on the dynamic of the Leona and Nautilus matchup in that bottom lane. But with, you know, I don't know why I went to bottom lane Pastry, because with Armut TPing back up topside, now Starscreen has to recall and match that TP as well.
You know, always fun to watch because both Kazi and Kaiser have been having a great tournament, but it is just some trading back and forth. Starscreen back into the top side though, gets a refillable potion and a control ward. It is just regular potions and control ward there for Armut, so very early bases, but again, Starscreen took the early trade, almost had it happen. Armut escaped, and then they both basically committed their TPs because they don't want to miss out on any waves, as a very good ward from Armut gets placed to spot Ferret coming into the enemy jungle, or his jungle in this case.
I think it's pretty expected that he would be up here.
But he doesn't want to clear it. I guess taking the crab first makes a little more sense.
Yep, going to go with the expected route. Also, speaking of control wards, I really like that Starscreen picked one up himself. He looks like he's going to be able to guarantee prio in this lane, so he's going to be consistently pushing this and being under Armut's tower, so guaranteeing himself a bit of safety. And then for the side of Mad Lions, they're just answering on the opposite side. We know Tristana is going to be able to have the push in this early matchup, and, you know, we're just starting the game off with ping-ponging some waves, Pastry.
Yeah, I'm sure as a former coach, Lyric, you're very happy to see players buy control wards so diligently on their bases. So Starscreen probably getting points in that column. Humanoid has found a random's activation, but again, just going to be chilling back and forth there. Don't expect too much from these mid laners. Both have TP. It is Spellbook versus Phase Rush. We did see some big dramatics from Tin Owens playing Zoe, actually against Mad Lions, so perhaps Humanoid is thinking about similar things he can do as the game goes later on this Zoe. But again, at least for Mad Lions in the mid lane, it is going to be more about what happens later in the mid game rather than what's happening right now in the early lane. So potentially a little bit slower than games we had yesterday. I think we did get spoiled for action from yesterday's group, but I don't imagine it's going to stay quiet for too long because Mad Lions especially have shown a lot of strength in the early game so far this tournament.
And that's where they've been insane, right? They average over a 2k gold lead at the 10-minute mark, but Wildcats wanting to disrupt that. Ferret going for the game.
Ferret. Farfetch already going in. The TP's coming through. The Kazi diving in instantly, trying to get that first blood, but it's first blood on the other side as at least the reset happens. That Humanoid diving in there, picks up a heal, tries to land the bubble, does hit it on Tavali, but 4v2 and already one kill happening. Not going to get anything else. Is now Starscreen going to be the target. Elyoya roaming up there with Armut, and this looks like a free kill clear over to the Lee Sin. It is Armut that's going to collect it.
Yep, kills answered on both sides of the map. We also saw both mid laners blow TP as well. Sadly, Humanoid had to blow a flash, so a bit of a summoner spell win for the side of the Wildcats, but already trying to get Armut set up for success to where he will be able to independently play out this matchup. And I like that Elyoya is transitioning this into trying to find a bit of a lead into the jungle as well.
Yep, going to take the Raptor camp away, so going to feel pretty good. Already expected to outclear the volley bear, obviously made easier when you steal the enemy jungler's camps, as Kaiser, as he's wont to do, is roaming into the mid lane here. Actually just like pushing it in here, giving Humanoid a little bit of space. Perhaps Humanoid wants to take a recall, so Saren, a little low on mana, as we'll watch this one again.
Yeah, we're gonna see that. Actually, both supports kind of starting it off. Wildcats realizing what Mad want to do. Ferret was here first, so they do find that initial kill. And again, Humanoid wanted to try to answer. He TP's in. He's on the wrong side of the lane, has to burn that flash immediately.
Yep, just gets out of there, so isn't going to have that, of course, then both mid laners have TP'd, so a little less freedom to kind of move back to the lane quickly here. But still Kazi feeling happy, even though Kaiser did get killed. See if that does influence the 2v2 more, because again, we expected Holy Phoenix to be the player that Wildcats have played around, but that has not really been the case so far this tournament. As Ferret going to get spotted on a very nicely placed ward here.
And I expect a lot of action to happen topside in general with these teams because we saw in LEC, I need a pause, Armut might be dove.
Starscreen with the ulti ready to go. Armut did level up though. Now the kick's going to happen, kicks them through each other. And now Armut is just going to completely disable that dive. In fact, they're not going any further. Armut won the trade on 2 different champions.
Really nice to see that safeguard into the ultimate to just completely stop that dive in its tracks from the Wildcats. And now Mad going to be the big winners on the map, turning that one into a dragon as well. Ferret going to try to clear away some vision. He did know this ward was here earlier, like you said, but I don't really know how much more they can get out of this top side.
Yeah, unfortunately, going top there for Wildcats with Armut outplaying the dive very nicely. Basically puts up a big signal that says, hey, go take the dragon, which Mad Lions happily oblige with. Holy Phoenix at least gets himself the blue buff, which was potentially going to be stolen away. But that does mean Saren potentially going to suffer there without that, especially if there is going to be a lot more pushing back and forth to maybe get out of mid lane and influence those side lanes. So never a good feeling for a mid laner when you lose your blue buff, no matter who takes it.
Definitely not. He's going to be feeling that one, especially when you're in this kind of matchup, right, where Zoe does have the early prio. We've seen that Humanoid has been consistently pushing this lane. But the next thing we have to look at is the Rift Herald. It's going to be up in about 20 seconds. And both of these teams were more Rift Herald focused during their regular season. We already see that Kaiser's making his way up. Elyoya actually going to go clear his bottom side camps. His red is about to come up, so maybe wanting to try and guarantee that for if an early skirmish does break out to have some more power. We see that Armut does have push, but Saren trying to hover in the wings, maybe put a bit of pressure, play with Fog of War so Armut can't play so aggressively.
I mean, you mentioned it already, though. Armut just fearless here in this 1v1. Knows the jungle is likely not around at this stage of the game. And even with Saren potentially moving up towards that side of the map, he's just playing so aggressively into Starscreen. Has the Iron Spike whip already, which is kind of the point where Lee Sin just feels good in almost whatever matchup he's in. So Armut feeling good, as Rift Herald is going to be started by Kaiser. Doing a little bit of the jungle work there for Elyoya. That was a bottom side, as you mentioned. Nice bubble there. Leona, not the squishiest target, but that's a good chunk of damage. Now the hook's going to land in, and they're going to try and take down Ferret. He's going to pop the ulti. Shockwave hits the Ragnarok target, plus the Nautilus, and Elyoya flashes in for Ferret, and Leona, as well as Farfetch, will fall.
And just really clean coming out from the side of Mad. We saw that Kaiser made his way up early.
Looks like a kill on my screen, but who's going to die is the question on what? He's going to get put in the Vitamix Starscreen, going to take him out.
And I guess just not expecting that Starscreen would walk down after two of his teammates just went down. Does face check into the Urgot. The ultimate comes out. He goes down. But still, at the end of the day, Pastry, Mad will be the team getting the objective. 80 carries, been isolated in the bot lane, just picking up farm. Also going to be a bit of a small advantage in mid. We see that Humanoid is pushing in the wave right now, so Saren also going to lose out on a bit of EXP and gold.
Yeah, ulti diff there in the 1v1 for the top laners. Armut used his already. So Starscreen able to win a pretty easy 1v1 as Armut perhaps a little too aggressively back towards the top side of the map, but still Armut keeping the farm good. We know he's been happy to take trades pretty aggressively in this matchup as well, although Tiamat is now done for Starscreen alongside those steel caps, so we'll see how that 1v1 develops. So we'll watch this one again. This was such a good bubble by Humanoid to kick it off.
Yeah, and like we said, that Mad Lions did get here first. Amazing Sleepy Trouble bubble coming out onto Leona. You said, hey, Leona's not the Squishy's champion, but she definitely is in the early game, not proccing your Aftershock or anything. And then nice by them to force out the ultimate from Ferret. I really like the flash follow-up coming out from Armut. Elyoya going in as well with this flash. And this has really been the story of Mad Lions for me is, hey, we've seen them develop into a team, especially here at MSI, that any part of this map can carry. Karzi's been stepping up and having a great tournament. Armut was already doing well in playoffs, and Humanoid's just been a beast all year.
All right, well, again, the top lane will do battle. Starscreen, no ulti, going to make it a lot more challenging to get it done, but Saren is roaming to the top half of the map, so Armut may be going to get baited in here, but Lee Sin, again, is very slippery. One of the reasons he's such a popular solo laner right now is this is so hard to pin him down in any sort of gank, but there's the flip in after the flash of Shockwave is going to be lined up but not pressed just yet. Now Saren going to use it. That's going to be a kill once again into the blender as Starscreen takes kill number 2.
And that is massive for the side of the Wildcats because of what we're seeing on our screen. Saren was actually losing out so much in the mid lane to make that possible. Had Armut been able to get away, that would have just been a straight up loss for the side of Wildcats. All of them are making their way towards mid lane though.
Going to make something happen here. Rift Herald pop up, perhaps Humanoid, who's at half HP, is going to be the target. Holy Phoenix also can join with the ulti. Leona as well, ready to let the solar flare rip. But death time is a pretty small. Armut does have teleport, most notably, although so does Starscreen. The top laners could join, and as a result, teams decide there's nothing else left to play for. So Holy Phoenix just going to come back down and keep farming.
Yeah, and I like their spec coming out from Wildcats because Mad Lions played that extremely well, right? They saw there were two members in top side. They go for that play mid. Saren was already losing out on the farm as we were talking about. Drop the Herald. They know, hey, we don't need to fight for anything right now. We can back off. We are going to give a bit of respect towards our enemies. And we're going to go straight into the replay here. Starscreen, kind of baiting it out, does go in with that E. Nice Dragon's Rage away from Armut to make sure that that doesn't go down, but still Saren used the flash to find that shockwave and it guaranteed the kill.
Yeah, I think one of those things with Urgot that sometimes gets you is that as soon as the ulti happens, it sticks in you for quite a while, right? So Saren wasn't necessarily trying to CC. Armut back with the shockwave, just needed to do enough damage to get the execute, which he was able to do. Did take a lot of resources to do so. I believe both flashes had to be used in order to get the kill, but still worth it in the end to pick up some gold because you know the rest of the map is just looking pretty good here for Mad Lions. They're up almost 1,000 gold and going to be up 2 Drakes in short order.
And this is definitely what they need, right? We highlighted, hey, this composition needs to get ahead early. We've seen a lot of work be done by Elyoya.
Alright, so they got the dragon. What else are they going to get here? Farfetch already going in. Soul Flare is popped. They're going to go for Kaiser. Shockwave is Upshot going to proc though. as now Ferret just gets deleted, but the Shockwave is going to get the trade back as both junglers will fall. Now Kaiser, the next target. Farfetch locking up one. That's a great killer instinct out of Holy Phoenix, as Humanoid going to be left out to die as Holy Phoenix flashes in for the kill. Now Kaiser, he's in the brush. He knows he is Farfetch. He's going to ward it up, and Holy Phoenix getting himself the double kill.
And Kaiser trying to be cheeky, but wasn't able to get away. Wildcats realizing they can go in on this, but we're getting more action.
Here we go again. The ulti's still up for Starscream. He's looking to really take over the matchup. Conqueror's going to proc, but the ulti is not going to be shot out just yet. But Armwood starting to maybe feel like this matchup doesn't feel all that good. The ulti is in. Starscream needs a little bit more damage, but he doesn't quite have it.
But still, I mean, he has pressure in this lane. He's going to keep pushing this in. I feel like Starscream is in a great position still. We see it has the Giant Spell, has the Tiamat as well. Sure, Armwood has that Iron Spike Whip, but that only really lets him, you know, clear the wave when necessary. We're going to see the engage here coming in from Wildcats, though. They go, and Kaiser has to flash out right away, and Armwood actually canceling the TP with the Dragon's Rage was so clutch. Saren, really nice Shockwave to finish that one off. And at this point, right, Mad Lions are split. They're in two different positions, so it's very easy for the Wildcats to turn to the sole member, find that kill, and then again, Kaiser trying to be a bit cheeky, hoping he has time to get away, but sadly, it just wasn't in the cards for him.
Yeah, good news there for the Wildcats in the new Axe Effect replay, as they are feeling a little bit more emboldened. Perhaps Holy Phoenix has been the player that we've highlighted, saying, you know what, this is typically the player that the Wildcats rally behind. He's one of the veterans of the Turkish scene. He's a very good AD when he's in his element, and at 2 kills and 2 assists already with the Kraken Slayer done at 14 minutes, he's going to be feeling like this is the game he can start to take over.
And this has been the Holy Phoenix we've definitely been waiting to see, right? 5-time TCL champion, a lot of pedigree behind this player. He has been the strong spot for the Wildcats domestically. We just haven't seen it here at MSI yet. But on the side of Mad Lions, again, I still feel like they're playing the map relatively well. Gold is even, but they're up those 2 Drakes. We see Alyoya hovering around mid lane right now, trying to guarantee that Humanoid gets that pressure. And then again, I want to start seeing them roam together as a duo, start trying to find more kills in those side lanes. We see Starscream still has no flash, as well as Holy Phoenix. So you have a lot of areas on the map that you can punish.
Yeah, even though the gold is even right now, in fact, Wildcats are up a couple hundred gold. Mad do have the Drake lead, but I think that doesn't quite tell the story about how tenuous the game is kind of hanging right now. There's a very low tower in mid lane for the Wildcat side, as you can see. There is that Drake starting to snowball here for Mad Lions, and it does feel like, you know, with some flashes down, with junglers being very active at this portion of the game, that there is a lot that could happen quickly as Armwood gets the kick already, straight into the waiting arms of Elioya, as Ferret is going to roam in. They're going to try and get a counter kill back. It is Armwood already with the shutdowns, but he's going to be a trade killer. Saren finds it. No, it's Ferret that actually gets the last hit, and a good flash is required there from the Olaf, as Saren had the Shockwave on point.
1 for 1 on both sides. Ferret should be able to get some vision out of this as well. And, you know, we even see Wildcats transitioning their bottom lane towards mid, so it looks like there's going to potentially be a trade of turrets. I don't think Wildcats can break down mid, but hey, at least they're going to get the Herald. Maybe they can try and transition that to Answer. And Mad Lions looks like they are going to play respectfully. We already see Kaiser starting to channel his back. Carzzy, I don't think he should be able to break down this turret, but it's a Tristana, and I apparently have no idea what I'm talking about.
Never underestimate Tristana when she's solo with the tower there, so we'll get that first tower gold and give Mad Lions the boost back in the gold lead. But Ferret should be able to equalize relatively quickly. And as a reminder, you can send us your tweets using Verizon 5G All Chat on Twitter for the chance to be featured on the broadcast. Please send in your tweets. It's always fun to read what you have to say about the matchups.
Especially, again, when we do have a lot of teams that, you know, the international community doesn't get to see for most of the year. But coming into this, Arma just really nice safeguard to secure that Dragon's Rage. We see the Ragnarok come out from Elyoya. They're able to pick that one up, but sadly for Arma, he's in a sticky situation, already having to use that flash, and then Elyoya being forced to burn it as well. Just both teams going toe-to-toe so far in terms of kills.
All right, Jungler back up top once again, but this time it is the Mad Lions who go visit Starscream, and that's going to be a kill as Armut collects kill number 3. It's starting to feel like whichever jungler goes top first has got a kill waiting and ready for them.
Both definitely have a lot of playmaking potential, right? We've seen from the safeguard into the Dragon's Rage for Lee Sin, very easy to set up these kills. And then on the side of Starscream, always having that flip available. He also has Flash if we get into any team fights. If he can find his way onto either Carzzy or Humanoid, though, that shouldn't be too easy, right? You have the Sleepy Trouble Bubble to try to create some distance, and then Carzzy Flash has the cleanse as well, has the rocket jump. Just so many tools making it hard for at least Starscream getting on top of them. But hey, you look at Wildcats comp, there's a ton of of meatballs who can do that.
Ooh, Farfetch does find Kazi, but again, Flash, Rocket Jump, and Cleanse all available, so that's going to be a flash out as an Nautilus ult. He's going to follow the Zoe Bubble. Unfortunately, breaks the sleep, actually. As Farfetch flashed far enough away, as Humanoid, though, still trying to find them bubbles, but Holy Phoenix again trying to find the angle, but can't duel Kazi straight up because Tristana Steroids is a little too strong, and Farfetch continue to get peppered by beach balls. So instead, the Rift Child's going to be dropped, but Mad Lions deal with that quickly. Now Kaiser finding such a good angle on the hook as Humanoid finally finishes off Farfetch, and that bubble just barely misplaced through that wall. Did not extend far enough for a second potential pick, but Mad Lions still finish off one.
Humanoid taking out Farfetch off our screens, and Mad are going to keep looking for this.
Would be, ooh, I'm very afraid now. For Volibear, Ferret in trouble. There's Humanoid with the angle. Nobody blocked the panel star because nobody wanted to. And now Mad Lions on the start screen. Shockwave will just barely miss, but that's Armwood going straight in there, kicking Starscreen in the face and grabbing yet another kill. And of course, the Mad Lions jungler is busy soloing the dragon, and it does start to feel like a game that was close. Lyric is getting quickly out of hand.
Humanoid single-handedly finding these picks for Mad Lions. Once again, clutch Sleepy Trouble Bubble into the paddle star, just completely wiping him out. Like you said, Saren sadly not able to hit a shockwave. I don't think it would have killed anyone, but maybe you can at least lock them down, try to create some distance so Starscreen will be able to get away. And now we pan back out to the map. Not only are Mad Lions on Soul Point, they're just knocking down structures left and right.
Yeah, as I said, there was kind of a tension at around 15 minutes where the game was even, but there was a lot of different things that either team could take. I thought with the trade that happened that got Wildcats the Rift Herald that they'd maybe be able to at least keep the gold equal because some of the towers were a little bit precarious. But unfortunately, that dragon fight turns into not just the Soul Point, but bottom tower and top tower as well. And all of a sudden, it's 3 towers to 0. The gold lead is approaching 4,000, and it feels like everyone that Mad Lions have set up to carry is ready to carry here in this mid game. And Holy Phoenix got a lot of work to do on a Kai'Sa that is now even when he was ahead.
Lucky for him, right? He still does have that front line, and I would say Wildcats comp is quote-unquote, you know, easier to play out in the sense that, right, you want to group up as 5, you want to have your front line in front of you, let Kai'Sa and Orianna dish out their damage. The thing that Mad Lions did extremely well in that last play, well, I need to pause though, Ferret, I think just gonna say hello, but one thing Mad Lions did extremely well in that last Pastry, I can't keep going because these teams want blood.
It's gonna be fine. Surely they won't kill Kazi. Yeah, he's fine.
Pastry, it's like yesterday all over again.
I mean, again, it's a Tristana with Flash and Cleanse. Surely Tristana will be fine. In fact, it is Wildcats pushing through mid, though that is a much better prize than the Tristana, although they'd happily take both if it was on offer. Kazi trying to keep them out of their solar flare, just like to zone, unironically. Will keep Kazi from shooting them as they do take the mid tower. They needed something because the map was so close that it was going to be tough to play as a unit, which is something they are looking to do now with their comp, as you mentioned. But looks like they're starting to get the run around, both Armwood and Humanoid in the side lanes, causing trouble to the tier 2s.
Yeah, great side lane control coming in from them, right? Not only just making it so that Wildcats have to react, but instantly turning onto this Baron. I think they do just want to force the Wildcats here, try to find a pick with that Sleepy Trouble Bubble, and, you know, maybe then they could turn that into finishing this Baron.
Good instincts there for Farfetch, just wards it out. But unfortunately, the Baron is at half health, and they can't see it, so the TP is going to have to come in, which is what Mad Lions want. And now the re-engage for Kai'Sa hooks onto the front line. Farfetch low, but not dead just yet as Farfetch blows up Kai'Sa. The Yogurt ultimate's going to miss because was aiming for a target that's already dead, but now Ferret's going to dive back in. Holy Phoenix will let it rip. Kazi is slain as Humanoid does kill the Orianna, but Holy Phoenix is popping off, baby. There's the shutdown for the Kai'Sa as Wildcats are back in the game.
4 kills for the side of Wildcats, a triple kill going over to Holy Phoenix, thinking they could turn this into a Baron, but sadly the health bars are a bit too low. I can empathize with what Mad Lions are trying to do there, right? Start off the Baron, maybe try to force a pick out because you know they need to come check, they need to put some vision down. You hit a Sleepy Trouble Bubble, maybe you can chunk out someone to half HP before a fight even begins. But that last fight was just pure chaos, Pastry.
Yeah, I really did think Wildcats were going to get the Baron off that, but as you mentioned, not enough health to continue the play. That would have pretty much equalized the gold, and then they could have maybe got ahead by using the Baron to knock down quite a few towers they would have had access to. Unfortunately for them, not getting that means that not only are they still a little bit behind in gold, now only 2,000 down, which is better than the 4K that it was looking like, but they're going to have to play for this Dragon here for the rest of this game in a minute 20 as Swatch just won again. It's, again, Mad trying to start things off with Humanoid's bubbles, and Kai'Sa just goes in.
Yeah, Kaiser thinking he can go for it again. I feel like the bubble was the key thing that had to hit. They are able to find one back in return, but they've already invested so many of their pick tools. It's very easy for the Wildcats to turn back onto them. We see Humanoid does go in to pick up another kill, but Holy Phoenix left untouched on the opposite side, and Starscreen barely making it out of that one.
Yeah, both mages doing really well in that team fight. Humanoid, unfortunately for him, he's more single target focused, you know, with the pick tools and the poke. But that shockwave that Saren kicked things off with really made the difference at the front of that fight. As Farfetch still going in. Humanoid, oh no! He's been harpooned by Urgot, and that's going to be a kill for Holy Phoenix. This kills him before the ulti. The Urgot ulti can even proc, excuse me. As that's going to be a second kill surely onto Elyoya. Going to run away with not much health left to speak of, but Holy Phoenix, he's doing it!
And this is definitely going to be the Baron for the side of the Wildcats. Sure, Mad Lions can try to zone them off. Maybe they can posture for a fight, but they don't really have that much AoE damage. Maybe Armut could try to find some sort of crazy steal, or they can burst out a member like Holy Phoenix right away, but Mad Lions, you know, their senses come to them. They realize, hey, we shouldn't look for this. Dragon's up in 5 seconds, but you're still 2 members down.
Yeah, critically got both smites off the table. Zoe could have one as well, which again, Mad Lions will be familiar with from a game earlier this tournament, but gonna take the Baron, gonna run down and take this dragon nice and quickly. Unfortunately, it's just your first dragon, so it's gonna be a long time before you can get the soul, and you of course have to keep the soul, especially the ocean soul, out of the hands of the enemy this whole game. But it does starting to feel like Wildcats realize that, you know what, our comp is a little easy to play. We know what we're doing. Farfetch just running in there.
And I love that we see Wildcats already having grouped up. They realize, hey, we can just walk into this. Mad Lions haven't set down their vision. And like you said, finding the CC onto Humanoid, Holy Phoenix able to jump in. And sadly, it doesn't matter that you have Ragnarok. You don't have Flash up as Elyoya, so he's going to go down as well. And it's sad because I feel like in the early to mid-game stages, we saw Mad Lions doing a really nice thing when they made that Herald play mid, where it's like, hey, find a kill, find a pick onto sides, rotate mid first, have numbers advantage, and then start looking for those picks. That's how this composition wants and needs to play out. But we haven't seen that since. Again, I totally get what they were trying to do with that Baron play. It feels like when you don't land the Sleepy Trouble Bubble, though, is when you should like back off, regroup, maybe push out side waves again, and then look to remake the play, because you're just making it so easy for Wildcats right now where they're able to keep the map small, and they're able to find those team fights that they want.
Right. You know, Zoe is so powerful on objectives because you just want to use that vision and bubble people. And as, oh, Fenrir the Horse, actually. We saw earlier in an interview. Today we find out if Viking is stronger than Bear. That is not something I had thought about, but you're right. That is a very critical point in the matchup. Also, the fact that the Baron buff is sieging straight through mid here for the Wildcats. They're going to bust through this in here. This side lane control is not going to matter when you're losing a Nexus, Mad Lions.
And we saw this already in a Mad Lions game, right, where it was actually reversed. They had Baron, but they ended up losing a bunch of turrets to the enemy team who were just constantly pushing, getting out macroed in the mid game, as you highlighted earlier, Pastry. And it seems, again, sure, gold is even. Oh!
Very good hands there to flush out of that one. Unfortunately, is going to lose it. Yeah, no, that's not the rush. That's not the right one. Kaiser. Ooh, you didn't see him? Oh, just too late. The Baron Empowered Recall is letting Farfetch get away with one. Almost found a wild Farfetch in that grass.
And that one was definitely a close call. We haven't really had any time to check up on items with how much action this game has had. We're pretty much 2 items across the board. 3.5 items actually on Holy Phoenix. Even still has that stopwatch available if he does end up in a tricky position where he's caught out. So I feel like at this point, you know, gold's even. Sure, Mad Lions is on sole point, but in terms of how these compositions play out in the later stages of the game, it just seems like Wildcats are strictly in the lead.
Yeah, it's one of those things, right, you know, as casters, we try and set up, you know, what our narrative is going to be, what do we think about these teams, you know, and then for Wildcats, it is, of course, you know, Holy Phoenix, that 5-time champion, the veteran of the TCL once again at an international event. But, you know, often the games are different. Different players have great tournaments. We already highlighted Starscreen, who has had some good spots in the early game. This time around, though, it really has just been that easy. It is Holy Phoenix all day this game for the Wildcats. If he can't carry this game, no one can, Lyric.
No, there's definitely... Maybe Saren can find some kind of 5-man shockwave, but I feel like that is being a little bit over-ambitious on my end, hoping for it.
I mean, he doesn't need to. Holy Phoenix is 7-0-3.
Whoa, Pastry, I'm talking about if something goes wrong, if Holy Phoenix goes down, if he...
Nothing ever goes wrong in Mad Lions games. That's not going to happen.
And now, actually, he has the Guardian Angel. Didn't even need to use a stopwatch. Immediately going to this one. So even if they take him down once, they'll need to do it again. And once Mad Lions get in like a close range, like brawl, close range skirmish, those are solely in the favor of the Wildcats. For Matt at this point, sure, I don't think Lee Sin falls off in terms of like as bad as he used to with this build with Gore Drinker. You know, you're kind of able to go in, sustain yourself even with all those nerfs that the item has had. But on the rest of the map, it's like, sure, again, Humanoid's going to put out damage, but you need to be playing around vision denial. You need to be chunking people out to 50% HP over terrain. And then it's all up to Carzzy, but Nautilus not as tanky as Leona, and Lee Sin and Olaf definitely not as tanky as Volibear and Urgot.
All right, well, a minute before the Dragon Soul is going to once again spawn for Mad Lions. The game actually pretty close. That Baron kind of equalized the game for Wildcats, didn't get them that far ahead. They are continuing to push it. Again, they feel very confident in the 5v5s, but if there's any team that's going to make, you know, perhaps a lesser 5v5 squad work with their superior team play, it is going to be a team like Mad Lions. They are so good as a unit. Right now, Humanoid is just trying to give Wildcats the run around in top lane, but Wildcats not really interested in going to answer that. They'd much rather end the game. They've got the super pressure in mid. They've got everyone down here in the bottom side attacking that. There is going to be a wave crashing top side, but Humanoid not going to stick around to try and take their inhibitor.
That's the important thing to know, right? Because people might be looking at this and say, hey, why is Humanoid top side? You know, there's potential threat on the bottom half of the map, but they realize that they can't take the straight up 5v5, so they're trying to pull a member of Wildcats towards topside to answer that turn. And if not, I feel like Mad Lions are fine giving up the second Drake. They know they can't contest it, so if by some chance Humanoid can guarantee a structure in topside, it is something that Mad Lions wouldn't have been able to get otherwise if Humanoid and Mad Lions weren't calling for this play.
Yeah, I actually like this, just kind of using the Dragon thing as a way to buy time, right, for the Mad Lions. Like, well, it's just your second Dragon, not really going to matter as far as we're concerned. Obviously, if the game goes really late and then the Soul is on the table for both teams, it's a bit of a different story, but might as well get some additional pressure. Might as well set up for the next Baron, which feels like it's going to be higher impact on deciding who wins this game. And this is such a good little brush play here out of Mad Lions, but I believe Carzzy got spotted, if my vision of that fog of war looks correct. And Wildcats not even going to face check through the jungle. Very disciplined just going through mid here.
Yeah, this is just showing to me that both teams at this point understand what win conditions they need, right? Mad Lions know that Wildcats are on a reset window. They saw that Dragon went down. They need to go for those backs.
Ooh, very good poke. Oh, what a soul there. Farfetch are going to find in Saren. Just blows him up. Now Volibear going into the rest of the team, and again in a 5v5. There's just nothing Mad Lions can really do. Holy Phoenix is ready to be unleashed alongside the rest of the squad as Carzzy's going to be shot down by Starscreen, and there's two away from an ace as the Shockwave doesn't get through the Ragnarok, but it just doesn't matter. Saren is going to try and cancel the back for as long as they can because Wildcats are going to try and end this game.
And it's nice to see that play come out from Farfetch. He's honestly been one of the members to look out for. Is
Barrett, are you going to win this 1v1? You might. Armwood, making it close. Again, just buying some time here. Ferrito just so tanky, getting all the health back. As Armwood actually still winning, but the shield is there. And again, it doesn't matter. It's not about this 1v1. It's about buying time to take the enemy next as Wildcats look to maybe take down Mad Lions for the first time this tournament. As what is going on? There we go. That's what I wanted to see. As there's two people running behind the tier 2s, but it doesn't matter. Wildcats, they're going to smash Mad Lions to pick up their first win of MSI.
And that's so great for them, seeing this rivalry kind of continue between, I want to say the TCL and LEC, but it feels more like the TCL and Mad Lions specifically. I like that we saw two very distinct drafts come out. We saw that Wildcats were able to keep it close in the early game, right? That top lane was really a battle of, like you highlighted, hey, which jungle's going to come top first? We saw Saren many times hovering towards that top side as well to make sure that Starscreen didn't fall too far behind. But at the end of the day, this was all about those mid-game team fights and all about Holy Phoenix finding ways to pop off.
All right, well, this was the first win at MSI 2021 for Fastplay Wildcats. And as we go to break, let's find out how they chose their team anthem for this tournament.